All right, start the timeline. Let's see. Oh, I can put you in timeout. That's not the right button.
Nope.
Oh, show. I just put it on there. Oh, that's easy to do. There's
Awesome.
a comment. Larry is here.
I'm here. Jesse's here.
Thanks for being here.
And
And then hide. That's easy to do. Oh, wow. You just click on it. All right. We're learning things on StreamYard and talking about Marvel shows mostly. The format has been revolving around the weekly format of Disney Plus shows, and saying Disney Plus out loud is, I think, what got me in trouble on that one episode. Is I put in the description Disney Plus, blah blah blah, and I don't think I actually wrote that out before.
really?
And they blocked me. They blocked me for showing content. So
Yeah, that's weird.
I think maybe it tagged somebody because I actually typed in Disney with a plus sign. And
there we go.
so I have video prepped, and you've got a whiteboard prepped, and we've got a lot to talk about. So I might try a little of both. I'm definitely not going to lean heavy on the video like I did that one episode that got me blocked.
Yeah.
But we'll try it out so we can, because I like going back and forth, but we can have, we've had discussions about shows completely without video props. But this is a good episode, I think. Yeah, I'm glad you're ready. And I've been watching and talking about Shang-Chi in the background, so I've got two big timelines on my mind. Did you see Shang-Chi?
No, maybe I'm gonna go see it tomorrow.
Okay, you haven't seen it yet. Okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. That's why we don't cover the movies on this show. It's like, there's always one person.
It's tough.
It's tougher to get to a theater than to watch these streaming shows, and a 2-hour movie versus a less than an hour show, all that good stuff. It's worth seeing, I will say, and so definitely try to check it out.
If I'm not, if I'm not looking at the, oh shoot, that's not what I tried to copy. I copied the StreamYard link, not the YouTube link.
To Mike?
To my lug, my whole lug.
Oh no! All right, we might get some.
I suppose if they want to join,
they'll either watch or join, or no biggie. Usually we got Mel here. He must be busy. We actually talked Shang-Chi yesterday. We had a nice spoiler show, fresh from the theater. It's like we saw the movie together and we're talking about it in the car.
That is kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. All right. Here we go. Let's see. I said I had my video ready. Let's try a little bit and see if we get booted right off the get-go. We have all the original cast, a small cast of voice actors in Doctor Strange. I'm calling it this What If episode, spoiler, episode 4. I'm just calling it Evil Doctor Strange because it's harder to say.
Yeah.
Lost his heart instead of his hands, ? And what does that mean? And we will get into it.
That's a great question. Is he evil because he's completely absorbed in this quest to fix the past? I mean, it's not like he's trying to take over the universe, or he does have a thirst for power, literally. Consuming power, but it's just for one ultimate goal.
So you're taking the ancient
ones, or just dark, or is he just making bad decisions?
You're taking the ancient ones language to heart. Somewhere towards the end of in the middle, Doctor Strange says, "What? I have an evil twin," and she says, "More like misguided."
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's a misguided Strange. That would give him some redemption. I think Disney kind of leans away from that heavy dark figure of villainous. I mean, they're doing villain movies now like Cruella and kind of humanizing their their anti-heroes or their villains. I mean, they were villains back in the day. I mean, Cruella and I don't know who is the
Maleficent
good
was the other
person
one.
there.
Yeah.
What's that?
Maleficent.
Maleficent. She has a movie. They've had Descendants, like the
There he
kids
is.
bad guys.
Hey,
What's up?
ain't much, man. Sorry, I'm late. I was actually on the road, so I'm not at home. As you can see, my background. Yeah. Yep. So where are we at?
We're right in the
Start all over
beginning.
now. We just got started. We're talking about whether or not Doctor Strange is he evil? Does he become evil in this episode? Or is he just making bad decisions?
Okay. Okay.
He's no Palpatine, I mean,
I think he's probably experiencing. Well, you remember that movie Groundhog Day, right? And Bill Murray kept making bad decisions, and he had to keep, waking up to that alarm clock. I think this is like a bad version of Groundhog Day. Like he's just having a bad Groundhog Day, like because you keep waking up to this very same moment.
Yeah.
Mm. And it's a tragic moment.
So I think it's a good lesson also in the the old adage that absolute power corrupts absolutely. He starts out, he's like, well, how can I get more power? So he reads the book of Cagliostro. He learns that I have to absorb the power of other beings. But then all of that, as he starts to absorb all of these, I mean, most of them were like looking really pretty evil. I mean, you didn't really see him absorb. Now, as I say that, the book of Cagliostro was a dark book. It was about dark magic. So I guess that as he's learning that spell, he's only summoning dark beings.
Mystical creature, mystical beings. I think they just describe it. But yeah, they seem pretty dark.
And I think that twists him and makes him.
Not to jump ahead, but is that the same calamari that was from the first episode?
Oh yeah. Don't think it ain't. It's drawn exactly the same, and it is a character. I'm going with yes. Yes on the calamari.
This one? Yeah, the tentacle being is back, and we're getting Shuma Gorath vibes. They're hinting at that. I think he absorbed some of its powers because he kind of cut the tentacles off. He didn't like take the whole being there, so that thing's not gone or could come back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to find
calamari.
Nice.
Calamari.
Not a fan. Anyway, too chewy. So
there's the bug.
Oh yeah, that was great.
There's the
Sorry,
evil.
I don't do bugs, but he takes his cape. That was awesome.
There's the evil gnome thing first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where it gets the cape. That's pretty funny.
There's like the cape.
There's like a dragon. Oh, I don't want to like play the video anymore.
Right.
Yeah, don't get yourself dinged.
There's like horns. And then I'm gonna go back.
Right.
Well, let's talk about the story as it unwinds, because Larry's got some plot hole devices that he wants to explain, and we might hit it right off the bat here, talking about Christine. And the first scene in the movie is Steven dressed up, and I don't know if he's driving a Ferrari, and he picks her up, and they go on
It's his Lamborghini.
Lambo,
Oh.
and they're it's a callback to the origin of Doctor Strange in the MCU, where he's driving down a windy road in the rain. But this time he has Christine with him. So I'm like, almost right away we could get into this. Whoa, something's different. They're talking about radical brain surgery, hemispherectomy, and that has
heavy.
a great kind of metaphor to the split personality that happens later in the episode.
I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah,
because it could have been any kind of neurological surgery, but they did specifically do, because that's a very uncommon procedure to do. So I think that was pretty cool they did that.
Yeah. So in this reality, there they are. They're like a couple. I'm like, where are we? We already had a Nexus event or something. Yeah. What's going on here?
I don't think that really that doesn't have much to do, a little to do, but not a lot to do with the plot hole that I want to talk about. But
yeah.
But that's interesting, because you're right. So there has to be,
there's the brain
kind of like, let's see. Was it last? Yeah, okay. I got my episodes confused. So in episode 3, something happens in the What If episodes that doesn't happen in our MCU universe. And that was Hope joining S.H.I.E.L.D. and dying. And that created the different timeline, the different reality. So in this one, it must have been something where Steven decides he doesn't want to be this egocentric, egomaniac, self-centered guy and fall in love with Christine. Or at least be on a much better terms with her, that they're going out on a date and they're talking very lovey-dovey. In the MCU, by the end of the movie, he does realize he does love her and he gets past his self. But in this What If episode, it must happen much earlier, because she's with him going to a dinner. In the movie, because I've seen the episode 3 times, I watched the movie again, and then I went back and was watching some other parts. So I'm like, I've been on this all week. Because I love the episode. I thought it was great. I think it was my favorite so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Except for the big issue. But anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm putting it, and you guys know this from my comments earlier, I'm putting it number 2 because I just like the Captain Carter episode. So
right.
It's just more good feeling, kind of episode with a big twist. And this one's dark, and I like dark movies and stuff like that, but this one's a little different. I'll tell you what's not different though. This car crash,
I know,
is animated. Like,
I'm loving that they're doing this.
There goes the Lambo, twists and turns and falls into the river.
How many times watch that?
Identical. We saw it a few times in the Groundhog Day moment, because this is the point of where Christine dies in this episode, this universe, that he tries to change.
Right.
They do this, they get rear-ended, and they go off the cliff, and he loses his heart instead of his hands. From there, they do a speed run, right? I know Larry's like, he's holding this tongue,
chomping at the bit.
Let's get a little bit further into it. Because just timeline wise, they do the speed run of Doctor Strange. He learns the mystic arts. He gets the Eye of Agamotto. He learns about Cagliostro, and
easy for you to say,
right?
Something like that. He does the apple trick with the time time twist thing, and a lot of people are pointing out that the Ancient One is there instead of Mordo. So we have another kind of variant.
It's a little bit of an inconsistency because if you remember what happens right after that scene is the attack on the London Sanctum. Well, he takes the Eye of Agamotto back to the pedestal. Wong, Mordo, and Strange are all talking about it, and he's getting ready to put it back. The real reason why he even has it with him into the rest of the movie is because the London Sanctum is attacked, and they break through the door, and he gets thrust into the New York Sanctum, and the battle commences. So if the Ancient One is there when that happens, do you think maybe it would, like, the fight would have gone different, or there might have been something else that would have changed that whole storyline? I don't know. They didn't really touch on it. They said everything basically followed the same path. So
yeah,
let it.
Yeah, speed run, like I said, they just go right through the movie, kind of in order, kind of whatever, but they go right to. They mention the Ancient One passing away, and the bargain with Dormammu, and
I got to put something on my whiteboard here that I just thought of.
Oh,
keep talking.
A new point. Wong is in this episode. Also, like I was starting at the beginning, we got all the original voice actors doing their parts. Benedict Wong, Benedict Cumberbatch, the actor that plays Christine, and the Ancient One, and others. So it's pretty good. So this gets pretty close to the Groundhog Day moment. Mel's talking about Wong starts a kettle of tea and says he hints at him to not do something reckless. He's so passive aggressive. Like, stop him. Like, and like in the Spider-Man video, the trailer, it's like, don't cast that spell. And then he just leaves. Like, yeah. Cast that spell. Like,
go to sleep. Oh.
Yeah.
I love when he asks him, I see we're switching to the cheap stuff. Because in the comics, I think Stephen Strange was also a bit of an alcoholic, like Tony Stark was. I think that was one of his struggles too.
Yeah, there is. We can talk about that a little bit. There's definitely people drawing similarities of we've lost Tony Stark, and is Doctor Strange filling those shoes? He's kind of on that bingy alcoholic. He's kind of reckless in his spell casting. What's that?
I say, like a little drinky sometimes,
He's a little reckless. Wouldn't call him a playboy, but hey, I wouldn't call him a playboy, but he's got some doctor money, right? He's got brain surgery money.
Well, that's part of the
bitch.
It was a money fight, right? You can do a money fight.
And they're teaming Spidey, the Tom Holland character, up with Doctor Strange right after the passing of Tony Stark's character. So it's interesting that they're trying to keep that kind of mentorship role in a similar setting with Spider-Man. But neither here nor there. We get the Groundhog Day moment, and Christine cannot be kept from dying. It is a absolute point in time.
And what the heck is that? That's right out of Time Machine from H.G. Wells.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember was it Guy Ritchie that did the Time Machine, the movie, the most recent Time Machine movie based on the H.G. Wells book. I don't think it was Guy Ritchie, but anyway, you guys either one of you see that movie?
Which one?
It's just called The Time Machine. It's probably 20 years old. It wasn't bad, but essentially, it's kind of the same plot where a guy's love dies, and he invents a time machine to go back and save her. When he does it, turns out he can't save her. No matter what he does, she dies at that time on that day. So it's cool because they're taking that from that classic time machine story, but or time travel story. But it's kind of like, okay, thanks MCU for introducing us to a brand new concept after we just went through the whole TVA thing, that there are absolute points in time.
Yeah. And and maybe you want to get the whiteboard out now because like that's the plot hole for me. It's like you are defining this definition of time travel and a point that you cannot change. I mean, that's the definition. It's absolute. You cannot change it no matter how far back you go and try to kill Hitler's baby or whatever. It's still something is still going to happen. Like somebody else fills those shoes and you still have a Holocaust.
Yeah.
In this point of this multiverse. So I want to say before I don't want to spoil your whiteboard, but it's like there's a whole different multiverse where he doesn't lose his hands. And she dies over and over and over and over and over. And if it's an absolute point in time that she must die, how do we get the first episode of Doctor Strange where she does live?
And what's so important about Christine?
What's so important about her, right? What does she do?
And why is it her death that is such a pivotal point that can't be changed?
Yeah.
I mean, I would think in this story, in the Doctor Strange story, I would think that his accident is an absolute moment in time.
Yeah.
Where he has to become the Sorcerer Supreme. Because that's really kind of it's not the Nexus event because that's supposed to be on the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
So, all right, we just got to go over here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Take the whiteboard, man. Take us to the whiteboard.
All right, hold on. Gotta switch cameras.
Get out the
right.
the watcher whiteboard.
I love finally he didn't intervene, but he allowed presence to be known. That I wasn't expecting that.
He's getting more involved.
Okay, so is this legible for everybody? Can you read?
A little bit. Like if you tell us what it says at the same time, that'll help.
Okay, cool.
This has got to be the
So we'll call this the sacred timeline. Okay, this is Doctor Strange's sacred timeline.
Like what happened in the MCU?
Yeah, that's the story we know. That's the main timeline.
Before this episode, yeah.
And then we have, I'm calling this the Nexus event, but it has to do with his relationship with Christine, as we talked about.
Yeah.
So two things kind of happen that branch off here. Either falls in love with Christine, or he stays egocentric and Christine lives on this timeline.
Yes.
So we get to, again, and this kind of all comes within the same kind of period of time, but the absolute moment in time where she dies, the accident. And
on this Nexus branch.
Right, but it's happening, so it's the same event.
The accident is the absolute point. I see.
Well, and that's, for me, the absolute absolute point in time is the accident, because it causes Stephen Strange to become Sorcerer Supreme.
Yes.
Right.
To here. Okay? So, the accident, and whatever it is, whether it's her dying in the accident, or her getting shot in the cafe, or getting blown up at the building, whatever, because he tried different things. He tried having her drive. He tried standing her up. He tried other things, going a different direction. She
Left
died.
her there. Left her on the curb, and the
Yeah.
building blew up.
Wouldn't recommend.
Which is really interesting to me because it's kind of like, okay, they go to this cafe. I mean, it's like death is surrounding her. So that means that the universe is changing all this other stuff. Like the guy that goes into the cafe, was he going to kill somebody? Just have it be Christine? Or was her being there something that changed the. I mean, you start thinking about that, and it's like, starts twisting your head, especially if it's Groundhog Day. And he keeps going back and back. But like in Groundhog Day, the bum always dies. If you guys remember that, he. I mean, you remember the scene? He's like giving him mouth to mouth in the alley, but the bum always dies on that same day, no matter what he changes. So same thing's happening here. So that happens. Christine is dead on this timeline. Christine lives on this timeline. However, this moment here, he loses his hands. On this timeline, he loses his hands, not his heart. This one, he loses his heart. The loss of his hands represents, I mean, to him, that's his whole life. That's his purpose. He's a surgeon. He wants to be the best. Now he can't use his hands, and so he goes on this quest to heal his hands. And so he spends all his money. He tries all the ideas. He's all out of ideas. During that time, he meets up with the physical therapist. Again, he does. Now, he might have a quest on here where he's trying to get her back. He's so brokenhearted. He wants to know. But in reality, he's a scientist. Is he going to think of a way to bring her back? I don't think so. I don't think any rational human, especially an extra rational scientist, because when he gets to Kamertage, he doesn't believe in any of that. Remember, he says, "Oh, I saw it in a gift shop." You know, when he's talking about chakras and energies and all that. So he doesn't believe in any of that. So why would he even think of bringing her back? I mean, he's just going to have to live with it. What does he do? I don't know. He gets over it, like people do. Everybody loses somebody. So that's kind of what I think would happen here. But here he's like, there's got to be a way, because I'm a medical scientist. I'm the best at what I do. I know there's got to be a way. There's cutting edge technology. He's on this quest. Ends up going to the physical therapist. The physical therapist tells him the story of Jonathan Pangborn.
Yeah.
He goes, he finds Jonathan Pangborn. Jonathan Pangborn tells him about Kamertage. He goes to Kamertage, becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. So, without loss of his hands, meeting these people, going to this place, which is not on the timeline,
right?
It's not going to become the Sorcerer Supreme.
He's not going to go to Kamertage. We have another guest. Mr. Corey is here.
Ah, Mr. Corey.
What's happening?
What's up?
Oh,
dude, we have a whiteboard for an explainer from Larry.
I see that. With the watcher on there?
With the watcher, man.
That's what's up.
Nice artwork, by the way, Larry.
Oh, thank you. Like,
gotta be.
It's hard drawing with dry erase markers. And
it sure is.
You're like, yeah, it's I did my best.
Yeah.
It looks awesome, dude.
So, yeah, that's the plot hole. That's the plot hole right there. He has to lose his hands to become the Sorcerer Supreme. No loss of his hands, no Sorcerer Supreme. Even if he, I don't know, becomes a pair of, maybe he loses the loss of his legs. Well, he can still be a surgeon in a wheelchair, but it's very important, and I'm pretty sure. And Corey, maybe you can answer this. Maybe you know the comics better, the canon that's in the comics better. Mm-hmm. That's what happens in the comics, right? He loses his hands, right?
Yeah, he gets into the same way the movie did it. He gets into a car accident, and he loses the ability to use his hands. Mm. So when he tries to find ways of doing it, he can't figure it out. Then he gets to the Kamertage, and he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme later on. But it starts there. So he's broken down, humbled, and then builds back up to be the best sorcerer ever.
But right. even to you, he drove that car alone, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't. But this episode, they were together.
Yeah, and that changes everything. That changes everything because
meant to be together in the car, but
Yeah.
this verse.
Yeah,
Right.
for this universe.
Okay, so here's another, and it's a little bit of it's a minor plot hole. I mean, you get the big one, and then you get these other little ones. So in the MCU, during the battle in the New York Sanctum, he gets injured. He uses the sling ring to go back to the hospital, and Christine saves him. And that's after here. So this moment happens after Sorcerer Supreme, after he's a Sorcerer Supreme.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if he's not alive, can he get saved? Can he? And then they
If
continue
that
the battle to for Dormammu.
See, the confusion happens is that we're trying to compare it to the time we know.
Right. Well, there's all these key moments, like
But he's right, because they
Angorn is
speed
a
run. They
key
speed
thing.
run over that whole plot run, that plot hole that Larry's putting in. He's like,
they jumped over it.
Why would he go find Kamertage? And now even more so, like if he fights Daramaru, then that part actually happened. Also, that he had the fight with what was the bad guy's name in that one?
Where in the what if?
No,
or
in
in
Doctor
the movie?
Strange.
Dormammu.
No, the
Dormammu's disciple.
Yeah.
Caecilius.
Caecilius, thank you.
Caecilius. Like if the evil Doctor Strange, the evil twin, has that fight with the Caecilius, and almost dies, and it's Christine that saves him. But she's dead in this new evil
If she's
twin.
dead, and he goes back to the hospital and trusts Dr. Nick, I doubt
Right.
it. I mean, he might. That might. I mean, that's a possibility. That could be an easy way to write that out and be like, okay, well, he goes back to the hospital because he does have a relationship with Dr. Nick. He's the guy that he had him cover his watch and screwed up at the beginning. But if he goes back on this timeline,
They need to extend
that
that
will be
out
out this way. But
to get to put Darmaru on there, because that's almost an absolute. That's an absolute, seems to be an absolute point that he makes the bargain and succeeds in saving Earth from that.
Right.
Darmaru.
Well, it could be or it couldn't be, because another what if story would be, what if Doctor Strange couldn't defeat Dormammu?
Because I guess like the way that they set up this Doctor Strange from the what if, the fact that he didn't have the limitations of his hands. And I think that was like a key thing between the two Doctor Stranges. Like one was trying to fix his hands. It wasn't his intention to be Sorcerer Supreme or be the strongest sorcerer. He just wanted to find a way to fix his hand. But because he's such a perfectionist in everything, he wanted to know everything about, the mystic arts. When it comes to this Doctor Strange, he's motivated to try to fix Christine dying and constantly finding a way to fix that point in his story. And even though he finds a way to use the time stone, so we can almost assume that up until the point that he uses the Eye of Agamotto and the time stone and everything, and he's learning how to manipulate time, they were kind of parallel until one had the motivation to, okay, I don't want to manipulate time anymore. I want to keep going in this journey. While the other was like, well, I can manipulate time. Let me go back and save the woman I love and try to fix that. And then that's when he started getting into that kind of repeat cycle where she keeps dying in different ways and stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's exactly where we were in explaining this in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to the whiteboard. Thanks, Larry.
Did you really just draw that up?
Next time, make the lines kind of branch out like this a little bit more.
Yeah, let's see those different timelines.
But how does this universe have two different?
You're so breaking up.
I'm sorry. What happened so that? Can you hear me?
Yep.
What happened so that this universe has two Doctor Stranges?
Well,
Okay.
that was when the Ancient One goes back.
Yeah, I got this one.
And
So
splits it.
explaining the show, the Ancient One teleports out of this blue teleport thing, which is kind of, color's important in magic and stuff. So it's like, she's dead. Like, how's she teleporting in? She explains the whole absolute point in time thing to Strange, but he wants to seek more power. He's like, nothing's impossible. You taught me nothing was impossible. So they battle it out, and she blasts him, and we don't really see a split. You can barely see, but that's the moment she blasts him to stop him and creates an evil twin, if you will. And that evil twin wakes up in the jungle, and the normal one kind of wakes up and just still has tea and goes about his business with Wong. So the evil twin wakes up in the jungle, right? And we find out that this is the lost library of Cagliostro. And this character walks up, Obang, he calls himself. And
who in the comics is Cagliostro?
Yeah, so I think it is him. It's his library. He says he's just the librarian. He's being very cryptic about it.
Right.
It's got a good kind of Indiana Jones feel to this temple, where there's no door, there's traps. He uses the dirt like Indiana Jones would. He only finds one trap. The thing's littered with traps, like magical rune traps, right? And he falls through one of the trap doors and meets this character who's the librarian, supposedly. And he has a funny joke there. We got to mention the funny joke. He says, "You're dressed kind of strange for a sorcerer."
Yeah.
And he's like, "It's Armani." He's like, "All right, Dr. Armani."
So Armani.
And so we have a different, like the Spider-Man joke. We're using up our made-up names, or the whole Doctor Strange thing.
Yeah, it was in the first movie too.
Mr. Doctor. No, it's Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who am I to judge?
Who am I to judge? Yeah.
That was good.
So we see this. We see this library. He gets in. I think it's kind of cool, but pretty fast that he finds this library. There's a cool blossom tree in there, and these books are around, and he's kind of speed run reading through as many books as he usually has. That kind of gift of photographic memory still. But he learns that to gain the power, he needs to absorb other mystical beings. He needs to almost be a soul sucker, like going back to Shang-Chi there.
Yeah. Soul sucker.
Yeah, Larry hasn't seen it yet.
Larry.
This isn't spoil everything show.
What?
You have a Marvel shirt on, so
I know. I had a big day yesterday.
Okay.
He had a big family barbecue thing. So
okay. All right. Priorities.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. He gets split in two, and he's absorbing, and we kind of already talked about it a little bit. He's absorbing these mystical beings. He starts small. He tries the tentacle thing, but that doesn't go good. And then he gets a little evil gnome. He gets the bug, which he doesn't like, but he takes his cape, and we get the evil purple cape out of that. That was cool. Each character has like a trait, like the crow has feathers, and the dragon has scales, and the ram has horns.
Oh yeah.
And
I thought all that animation and all that imagery was just so cool.
That was cool. And
that was one of my highlights of that one.
Yeah. Pretty dark for a Disney show. There's bat wings and deer skulls and antlers, and the watcher's like checking him out and talking to himself, I guess.
He's just chilling, just watching it.
I should intervene, but I can't.
I've kind of I don't know. I looked at it this way. It's kind of like he started absorbing so much power. Finally, he got powerful enough to be aware of his presence.
Yeah.
And he's like, who's that? Because
Yeah.
he's getting I mean, they said he was in there for centuries. He was frozen and in there for centuries because when he pops back out and Cagliostro is old and dying, which tells me, okay, well, this guy can live a long time too, but he also is like the Ancient One. The Ancient One lived a long time, so it's kind of a similarity there. Probably the same spells, but so he's in there. He's in there for centuries, absorbing all these. I have a question for the panel. Who else do you think did he absorb? Do you think he was powerful enough to absorb Dormammu, or do you think he?
I mean,
he came out in not
Dormammu. No,
you don't think so?
No, even
Mephisto?
even the tentacle monster, I think, is just parts of it, the tentacles and all that stuff.
Well, if skipping kind of to the end where everything goes bad, he destroyed the universe. Well, does that include all of these multi-dimensional beings? Because the tentacle thing is a multi-dimensional being too.
Well, it depends if the universe that he destroys, is it? I mean, what we're noticing is that everything is branching off and there's different universes. So, I mean, if he was able to destroy his universes, some of these creatures could be Nexus beings where they can survive in multiple universes. So it could just be like, oh, okay, I've just lost that universe. All right, I can move on to the next or something like that. So I think he probably did absorb some of these entities, including Dormammu, I think, because even Doctor Strange, the regular Doctor Strange, he was able to kind of keep Dormammu in a state where he was repeating himself. Right. So if he's able to do that, and he hasn't even mastered all of his skills as a sorcerer, imagine Doctor Strange doing this for centuries upon centuries upon centuries and getting to this level. So I think he could easily do that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, ultimately, the Watcher was outside of that because he was observing.
Yeah.
So
there he is, checking him out. It's like I should intervene.
The Watcher is the worst instigator of all time. He's the worst instigator.
It felt like to be totally ambivalent of everything. He sure stirs up some stuff.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, man, you should probably do this, but I can't get involved.
Yeah. It felt like a bad episode of Twilight Zone. Like he was like how the narrator like from Twilight Zone. That's what it felt like. I'm like, man, this is bad.
Do you think he absorbed the Scarlet Witch?
No.
Nah. I think she's. Yeah. Again, the Nexus being. She's a Nexus being. So I don't think. Whatever, he only destroyed one universe. He didn't destroy all the universes. So I don't think he touched her in that way.
Yeah, I mean I mean, like you said, he ended up like collapsing his own universe. So everything that was in that universe, I'm sure is done. I mean, but I guess that's the game of the variance that's been happening, right? Like,
Yeah.
So does this storyline take place before Endgame?
Theoretically, yeah.
Yeah.
It should.
Okay. So
you're right in line with the Doctor
Did he just
Strange
destroy
movie.
Thanos? When he destroyed the universe, did he destroy? Because you got to think about, he destroyed the whole universe. That's Asgard. That's Thanos.
The way I interpret it, maybe the way I interpret it is that when he was in this realm and he was there for centuries, I think Earth kind of just went, and all the events that took place just happened, because essentially there were two. Like at that point, there were two Doctor Strange. So one Doctor Strange remained in I guess in this timeline. While this other Doctor Strange was just sucking up all these different entities and everything like that.
But
then he went back.
Yeah, he's doing that in the past. And so when he comes back and meets with good Doctor Strange,
it's
That is
still
actually
it's still in their present timeline, not a post Endgame Doctor Strange, because he was still trying to save Christine at that present moment.
Mm.
right. So he comes back and meets up here.
Mm-hmm.
They meet up here, and so
Yeah. So if anything,
Yes,
when the
get
universe
out
destroys,
the
he
markers.
just wiped out everything after Doctor Strange the movie, essentially. If you think about it.
yeah. So after he comes
Universe destroyed.
back,
Everything is going.
the universe is destroyed here.
Oh,
At
because
the
they're
beginning
at
of-
the moment of the car crash?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's jump forward to that moment. He's fighting himself. They destroy the reality. I mean, I think, yeah, that reality is pruned. Anything happening, all of that happening, anywhere, any realm that's included in that universe is gone. Because that black ooze, that was a cool way to show, like.
Oh yeah.
I did like that.
Let me get back to you guys. Instead
We
of
got Lego Lover and Brick Babe in the chat, by the way.
what's up, guys? Thanks for being in the chat. Brick Babe, Lego Lover. So yeah, the universe, the way they do the black ooze dripping upward was very cool, and
it was like ink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it's like very, and it's an animated show, so the ink is like the whole show is like. It's like when they show a film burning up and the pages are disappearing, the ink is washing off. That's what, like, I think what you guys are going at. Does Thanos exist? Does this person? Yeah, like all of reality in this timeline is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, aren't you a little disappointed? Like the good Doctor Strange, like couldn't stop the evil Doctor Strange. I mean,
I like that.
When they met up, I'm like, oh, this would be no contest, because if he's been there for centuries, powerful for centuries, he's getting towards like omnipotent power, and let's see, because when they meet up. Thank you, Brick Babe.
You talking about the two Doctor Strange?
So good Doctor Strange. I'm trying to think of the episode. When does
Wong casts a protection spell on the good Doctor Strange?
That's right. And then sends him back to the accident point.
And it gives him this Guardian of Vishanti spell, which protects him and is a great, a great spell. And then, but he also is like getting trapped by the evil twin at the same time. And he brings him into like a weird dimension where Wong and the Ancient One can't intervene. And they go over. He tries to bargain with him. Basically, we got to bring Christine back. We need to do it. He's like, I can't do it. You can't do it. And we can do it. And he's like, we need to merge again. So very interesting. How
so when he gets sent back, it is back to the moment of the accident, or is it?
It's not quite there. They're just in a dark realm. We see
they're
shadow.
It's kind of an outside of time place.
We see a shadow figure of the evil twin first. We see the tentacles and the wings, and he's talking to him. And then they're talking, and then he rages out a little bit. And we see more of the eyeballs and stuff. And
he looked horrible.
He looked evil, yeah.
He looked horrible.
That's why I call him an evil Doctor Strange. But so he grabs his hand, and then they are in the moment of the car wreck, and they have a fight. They attack each other over and over with mystical powers that were similar to what we saw in the Doctor Strange movie. Each hit on the good doctor kind of wiped away some of the ruins of protection. That was a cool show of like force that's going to break down eventually.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Mhm.
And then we get a funny but not so funny moment with the Cape fighting the other Cape. I
Funny.
liked it until it got a hold of the evil twin and stopped his hands like
Yeah.
he does, and he got kind of destroyed.
You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of the rug in Aladdin.
Oh yeah,
When
yeah,
Jafar
the
unravels
had
him.
a personality
Oh
of its own.
no, not the
Yeah.
magical death of the magical cute cloth character.
When I saw that, when I saw that the cape, the cloak get torn in half, I knew it was over. I knew it was over. I was like, oh, yeah, there it is. It's over.
And that was
It's
the
over.
beginning of the end.
Yeah.
He does another fake out with a vision of Christine, and like, it's like we could be together, and this is not real. Yeah, it kind of fractures. He figures out this is not real. He wasn't buying it any time. They fall out of that dream, and they're punching each other this time in the air. It was kind of a crazy little fist fight, falling through the air. And again, with each blow, more of the protection spell was wiping away until they fall, and he just takes his finger and gets rid of the last of that protection spell, and he's ready to absorb himself into himself and become one and powerful enough to perform whatever soul recovery spell or whatever steam. And in that form, he goes beast mode again. He's like eyeballs all over and a snake collar, and oh man, it was cool. I want to see more concept art of that for sure. He levitates the car, and Christine's soul is in there, and it's another blue color, blue magic. There's something about that blue. I think that goes with the soul, right? And he brings her soul back, and she wakes in fear because she sees this beast. And it's a little Beauty and the Beast story too, I guess, where she's not falling for it though this time. She's like, get me away from this guy.
Right.
And just like he was warned, the world collapses even more so, more black ooze. Everything is like less, it's way more gone than real. Reality is literally collapsing on itself and shrinking around Doctor Strange. And he addresses the Watcher again. He's like, don't let this happen. You're a god.
Right.
And he's like, I'm not a god. I can't interfere. And like floats away. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And pretty much the show's over. It collapses into a speck, like really tiny. And then we see this purple gem prism of dimension that collapsed in on itself. And just like a diamond is hardened by collapsing a bunch of coal, this reality world is collapsed into a gem. And I don't think it's gone. He's in this little like prison.
Like for eternity.
By himself, because Christine was in there with him and she also vanished. The last thing to vanish. So the Watcher says, one life, one choice, one moment can destroy the universe.
That's like the ultimate snowball effect. It's something that starts off so simple. You think it would just be easy enough to go back and just change one thing. Hey, let's go a different route. Let's drive a different way. And I love how every iteration he tried to do and try to take, she would always die. It's like, even if she stayed home, she still died. It's like, it doesn't matter. She had to die in this universe in order for him to be Sorcerer Supreme. But again, his choice, it sent him down a dark path. It's quite poetic if you think of it.
Yeah. pretty classic in anyone trying to bring anyone back from the dead. It doesn't go right. Or absorbing souls, definitely very evil, and doesn't work out. Doesn't work out for the good. Like this, just like instead of like somebody, you know, a hero popping in and stopping this. Usually, you know, we get a hero moment. This is just, we're done. We're done with this whole universe. This whole reality is gone.
That's what I like about this whole What If series. It's like, you know, what if the villain won? What if, you know, the good guys didn't win? Like with the last one with the Avengers, you know, what if the Avengers all lost? Like they never assembled, you know. It's things like that that just makes you say, huh, yeah, what would it be like?
I got a question for you guys. What if this guy's evil Doctor Strange?
You know, it's interesting. We just finished our stream. We were talking about Shang-Chi, but we talked about
Doctor Strange from the Spider-Man trailer.
Yeah, like we were saying, like, you know, half of us thought like that's the actual Doctor Strange, you know, and the other half said that this is a variant. This is a variant
of I think too. Yeah,
of Doctor Strange.
Like
so
this show showed a variant. Maybe it's a different variant. It's not the one from the What If series. Something's off about him now.
Yeah,
you know,
he just seems too laid back, too like he was so strict and so strategic and so by the book that like in the trailer he was just like, nah, yeah, you know, yeah, let's do this spell and see what happens. You know, it's like that's not his character. So
I mean, he was reckless a little bit before, but he seems out of control. Like the whole place is iced over.
Yeah,
and that's not from it's not from a hole in the roof from the Hulk falling through it.
Exactly. He felt through it was summertime. Like,
yeah.
Well, I think he's at a point, and I was like, you know what? Hey, we defeated Thanos. We brought everybody back. Man,
I can let my hair down.
Trailing from here, and I think he's just like chill and relax. But I did watch one review, and they were remarking on the fact that he didn't have scars on the back of his hands when he was doing the spells with Peter. So,
okay.
Of course, if they go that route, I'm not buying it at all because it's all about his hands.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good observation because, I mean, this Doctor Strange that destroyed the universe, he didn't have scars on his hands either.
Exactly.
So, you know, that could happen. That could very much well be.
It's a Lego Master reunion? What's going on here?
Oh.
What's going on, guys?
Yo, BX.
Here.
Yeah.
Taking a break from building Transformers?
Yeah, I'm very sad. I'm away from my collection right now. I'm in a whole other state right now.
I like your post of the largest Lego Transformer collection. Prove me wrong.
That's right, yo. Stand on your square, yo. Stand on your spot. That's you, yo.
Oh, he froze up.
Give to the people that were looking for the. So
we explained the show away of What If. What are your thoughts, EX?
I just watched it like probably less than an hour ago.
Nice.
And it was kind of mind blowing. I think one of the biggest takeaways from this is the idea or the concept of there being a moment that you can't change no matter how many times you go back and try to. I think that's something that they're going to end up exploring in like the regular MCU franchise altogether.
An absolute point in time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's gonna mess with all sorts of storylines.
Larry's got a whole whiteboard beside him. I don't know if he caught us earlier, but he's conspiracy boarding his way out of this show. There it is. Oh my gosh. He's got the timeline.
Look at that.
He's got a nexus point where Christine is in a relationship, and that made sense. It's I think the point of the accident being the absolute point is is also clear, and what we have in our MCU original universe is, what if he sped up and tried to, like, if Christine's not in the car, and instead of him hitting the brakes, he guns it and tries to get ahead of that, and that's when he loses his hands.
Maybe, yeah. And I mean, the fact that it's the exact, I mean, if he's speeding along in his Lambo and he's a second quicker, a second later, he's going off on I mean, you know, you think about the trajectory of the car going off, it could have been a whole different thing. When I was watching, I went back and watched the accident in the movie, and one thing I did notice is that the reason he gets so badly injured is because the airbag goes off, but then it continues down the hill, and he has another front end impact with the airbag being deflated, and so and that's what happens in regular cars. I mean, your airbag goes off once, but if you get hit again, then you can get seriously injured, just like Stephen Strange. So what if that didn't happen? What if he just hit once? What if he was saved in the accident? What if he didn't lose his hands? What if he lost his ability to walk or talk or see or something? I don't know. I mean, but any of those might have taken him down the same path, because it would have taken away his ability to be a surgeon. And that was his identity.
His quest to camouflage.
Yeah, that led him down. That took him to the physical therapist. That took him to Pangborn. That took him to camouflage.
Mm-hmm. You also have to think about who Stephen Strange is as a person. Like, he's an overachiever.
Yeah.
So, like, he's the top of his class. He's the best at what he does. So if he was to find himself in a situation,
Wolverine is the best at what he does.
Oh, excuse me, my bad. well, we don't know who Wolverine is in the MCU.
Yeah.
So, you know, but still, when it comes to his character, I mean, that's just who he is. So, like, even if it wasn't his hands, if it was his neck or something like that, I think he probably would have went the same route to find a way to fix it. So that
that's a great point. That's a great point, and I have a counterpoint.
Okay.
So let's see. Can we see this? I don't know. You might have to put me on the big screen because my name is covering up that section. Oh, shoot. We lost Mel. All right.
Yeah, we're on the whiteboard.
We're on the whiteboard. Okay, so right here, this Nexus event, Strange falls in love with Christine, sends him on this path. Strange is egocentric, and it takes him on this path, and she lives. So if at this point, you have to be, I think if you're truly in love, you have to be selfless, and you have to live your life for another person. That's where that true love is. And if he's there, maybe he could revert back to being, completely self-absorbed, and it's all about him, which is where he was here. That's what led him on this path. So maybe, I don't know, maybe if he's, if he loses Christine, he loses. I don't know though. If you learn that lesson in life, that to give yourself to another person, it's a huge thing, and I don't think that changes back unless, maybe it does. If you have a huge tragedy, maybe you revert back to being completely self-absorbed, and that will take you on a path where you'll do anything to get what you want.
Well,
I don't know.
The Stephen Strange that we saw in the movie, he wasn't a Stephen Strange that was in love with Christine in the beginning.
Exactly.
They had a thing. You could tell that there was a past relationship between them. But even when after his accident, he was still like kind of real standoffish. He was a jerk at some points to her, to the point where he wanted her gone because she was like, well, maybe you can't fix it. Maybe this is just the way things have to be. And that's not what he wanted to hear. So, I feel as though that's just who he is, but this entire different universe where he's in love, and I could see his motivation as to why we end up where we end up at the end of the episode, because his whole motivation and drive was to correct what they say cannot be done. And he's in the realm of, even in the beginning of it, he's being awarded for doing a surgery that's near impossible to do.
Yeah.
So that's just who he is. Like, you tell him he can't do it, he's going to do it. So, that was his whole motivation and drive throughout the entire episode. So I mean, that kind of made sense to me.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
I think because and this is how I got to this point that made me made me do this was that so I kept going back to so he's Sorcerer Supreme. He learns all this stuff at Comertage because he met Jonathan Pangborn, because the physical therapist told him about it, because he ruined his hands.
Mm-hmm.
So
all those steps.
But and then again, I mean, this I think is a key point here at Comertage. He learns that magic is a thing.
Yes.
And it has to be the ancient one to show him that.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's just brokenhearted, is he gonna end up at Comertage? I mean, maybe he goes like a whole different way. Maybe he never meets John Pangborn and he finds somebody else who maybe he runs into Mordo and some other iteration takes him to Comertage.
Yeah.
But is Comertage the answer to a broken heart?
I don't think so. I think for him, because even in the What If series, the way that they showed it seems as though that he didn't have any conflict as far as him being a part of the classes and stuff like him doing the astral projection and all that stuff, like him doing all that stuff. I feel as though that his motivation was to still, oh man, that's a good one. Because now I'm talking about him, like, yeah, because like he wasn't injured. It didn't seem like he was injured because every time he walked away from the accident, he was never in the hospital or anything like that. So I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it kind of goes back to like when he sees Obang in that library, and he says, "Who is she?" He's like, "You don't go on this this journey of power for yourself, right?"
That's true.
So I think right there, Larry, is like I agree with Corey. Like, would he get to Comertage? Would he get like he's got a mission. It's a different quest by far. The heart and the hand.
I can possibly see that. So if you said that like Comertage and Sorcerer Supreme was another absolute moment in time, maybe he gets there another way.
Right.
I just don't. He goes there because he's looking for healing.
Yeah.
For his hands in the MCU and then for his heart in the other one. Okay. I still think it's a big plot hole.
It makes sense. It makes sense if it's as a plot hole. Yeah, because it's like, all right, you just lost the love of your life. You would think that, okay, well, he'll be depressed, but he still has everything else that makes him who he is. So why would he go on this journey? So, yeah.
Well, and why would he go to that? Again, they could explain it. You could write it away by saying he runs into somebody who's like, well, you've tried, because if you lose somebody that you love and you're depressed, you're in that place and you're trying to solve this hurt of your heart. What do a lot of people turn? I mean, he could turn to drinking and prostitutes. I mean, he could go a whole different way, and like what most people do, they'll eventually get over it, and then he starts dating again. And the problem, there's no Sorcerer Supreme, and they could write it where he could then run into somebody else. It could be a totally different person. That way, if you want to solve this problem of your heart, you need to go to Comertage. I don't know. That's a stretch. To me, that's a big stretch.
Yeah,
it's like they try to make a.
He doesn't lose his whole reason for being. Well, I guess maybe he does. I don't know. He's got different reasons for being. One, the love of his life in the scenario where he falls in love with Christine, or him being the world's best surgeon in the other scenario where he doesn't fall in love with her. I don't know.
It's kind of like they try to make a Marvel version of Pet Sematary almost.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities to other movies with time travel and raising the dead, and all of that is Just Pet Cemetery, Groundhog Day, Final Destination. It's all bad news.
Yeah, doesn't matter what, and that's what I liked how they said this is like an absolute point, like in the timeline. Like there's certain things you just can't change.
Yeah.
Like she has to die in order for you to become the Sorcerer Supreme. That's just destiny. That's fate. You can't change that. So
yeah,
that sucks. That sucks.
But that absolute moment in time gets created by her death almost.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, gets created by the Nexus event, which is, whether he falls in love with her or not.
Yeah.
And then it comes to here.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like about it. It created an absolute point in that realm.
On this timeline.
That absolute point doesn't exist in the other MCU.
Right.
And so here's the most important question of the night. Where's the TVA?
Where's the TVA?
Where's the TVA when this happens? Come on, man. It's going to destroy the universe. It's going to destroy the TVA.
That's it.
Unless
Kang's like, okay, we'll just let that one go.
Unless it's supposed to happen. Maybe this is a multiverse. Maybe this is a universe that reaches that. This is how this universe ends, and that's why they didn't intervene. Because it's a multiverse. So why would they care about this to happen when other universes may have been, go on and on and on and on. Maybe this one reached this point. Maybe it reached this end.
Well, maybe they're like, yeah, well, this one's okay. You created a Nexus, but this one's toast. This one's hose. We don't need to worry about snipping this branch because
it's already done.
Up, Ivan?
Yeah.
So, well, we're theorizing ourselves into a hole, and it could be. I like it, the whiteboard. Thank you, Larry. That was amazing. I did the same thing for Infinity War when Cap came back as old Cap, and I got the chalkboard out, and I'm like, yes, it's the same. This timeline, this and this and then that. And I didn't have the verbiage of Nexus events and absolute points, but I'm like, I think this can happen because you put everything back, and and you went to another universe, or even if as long as he went back in time and didn't change anything, it could happen.
Yeah, they took the time to explain that, because if you look at the entire movie and that point between the Ancient One and the Hulk, it really doesn't make any sense. But if you look at it in the bigger scale, all right, they had to explain how time works and how the flow of time works. So you needed that. Without that explanation, we could just theorize all day long. But they kind of gave us a kind of like a grid to say, all right, well, as long as he did this, this, and this, and this, the timeline will come right back into form. So
yeah, and they've done that. They did that with the Ancient One too. She clicked the Infinity Gem out. It's like, no, you can't take that. Oh, but if you put it back, then that prunes that alternate reality without an Infinity Gem.
See?
So
they set that up.
We have a lot we could talk about, and I appreciate every one of you guys for showing up and giving some comic book knowledge and time out of your day for us to just geek out on this. And
yeah, my head was spinning all week after this show. I really did like it. Like I said, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. That'll be 4.5 out of 5. I would be a 5 if not for the plot hole.
Yeah, I'm in the same realm. I'll give it's second place for me. The first episode with Agent Carter is still by far my favorite, and too well done of a storyline with a good ending. This is like the flip side of that of everything's destroyed, which is great that they told that one-off story, right? The one-off comic books are just crazy stories about what if the Punisher was Spider-Man or something crazy. It's just like, what is going on? And we have more to, I'm not sure if there's 10 or so episodes. We're about halfway through. We got 4 down. I haven't seen a trailer for the next one. I think it's the Thor story. I think we're going to get more of Thor doing something. We'll see. And then we have Marvel Zombies, which I can't wait for. I think that might be the story arc of all the what ifs.
Oh yeah.
If there is one.
If they're going to do that, because you see later on, you see the Dark Strange with Captain Carter.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're going to get another Guardian story to explain Gamora.
Oh yeah, we got to get a Gamora Thanos story for sure.
Yeah, they teased that in Endgame. They
Mm-hmm.
definitely teased that in Endgame. Some of those the flashbacks. Well, not Endgame. I think no. Sorry. Was it Infinity War? No, Infinity War. No. Yeah, it was Endgame because she had the outfit. She had the kind of the gold and trim in her outfit when she and Nebula was fighting those dudes, and then Thanos, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that scene right there. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I want to see what that looks like.
By the way, I scored all the what if.
I'm so mad.
CMFs.
I can't find that nowhere. Hate jersey.
Well, my buddy Mike found me a zombie cap, so now I'm only missing 2. But I had 22 of them. Out of those 22, I had 6 triplicates.
Wow.
That's a lot of multiples. But you got those in 2 6-packs, Jesse. I'm so
2
jealous.
I scored because there are 2 combinations of 6-packs. I could have got 2 identical 6-packs, but I scored. I got two of the only 2 there are, I believe, from what I've seen online, and this is the series I wouldn't mind having doubles of. Dan.
Yeah.
Right?
So jealous.
You could do like what if stories. Huh.
What if I had triples of everything? All right. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Thanks, chat, for chiming in. Anyone rewatching this later after you see the episode, thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Tell us if you want more. Give us some comments. And watch my friends in Instagram, Larry Legend and BX Bricks and Corey Sams. He's got also a comic show on YouTube. Right before me, he spoiled the heck out of Shang-Chi. And
oh yeah.
And me and Iceberg, we lost Mel. He got pruned from the episode here today. But he
TVA struck.
He and I watched Shang-Chi yesterday and spoiled it. So you have 2 outlets with some Lego community talking about Marvel, and we're all here just for the fun of it. So hope you like it. Everyone stay fresh, and we will catch you on the flip side.
See ya.
Peace.